Hi everyone, nice cycling is predominantly keeping yourself safe, but there's still an element to good cycling where you're looking after other people, and this is what my viewer does brilliantly with this guy. He wasn't paying attention, but my viewer turned it into a non-event. This next clip is from the same viewer, but just a little further up the road, and we're going to be watching the guy on the Lime bike. My viewer does a good job of warning, but I think the bell should have been probably a little earlier, and maybe consider even using your voice. This road user in front is obviously not paying attention, so do something so they know you're there. Am I right to ride past, mate? The earlier warning may have been a little safer, just to try and get the other rider's hands back on the handlebars a little less rushed. Overall though, pretty good job. Perfectly patient. Lovely. This is a clip where my viewer had to look after themselves, but they did it simply just by adjusting speed. Terrible driving, but lovely cycling. Well done. Appreciating the difficulties of others is always one of the traits of a good road user. There was even a touch of a grateful jog there. Nice work. If buses wish to pull out, cyclists should also let them do so. It was a nice holdback, but a slight movement to the left may have communicated to the bus driver they could go a little sooner. It was appreciated though. Another clip featuring a bus. I think my viewer does particularly well here because of the low down riding position. It was really important that the bus driver was going to see the cyclist before my viewer continued. Good road users should always be thinking, have I been seen? Poor road users continue into situations just because they have priority. Even there, look at the care that was taken from my viewer to make sure no one was coming the other way before they went round the other bus. Top draw. A perfect example of how to deal with a pedestrian on a shared path who's wearing headphones. To be a good rider, you've got to be super aware of everything that's happening around you at all times, just like you would do if you were driving. But this is a particularly good job, I think. It's more dangerous on a cycle than if you were in a 1.5 tons worth of metal box. My viewer knew that was coming. Some more good early recognition of maybe I haven't been seen. This time it's with the van on the left, and my viewer is stuck behind the A-pillar blind spot. Again, they fix it easily just by slowing. Terrible driving, but some expert cycling. Brilliant. Some more expert observational skills whilst riding in London. There was a lot to watch in this clip. I mentioned it a little earlier about people ploughing on when they think they have priority. However, this situation the road is blocked, so the cyclist does not have priority. You need to let this vehicle clear. And even there could be a gap for the cyclist to go through, but it was a great decision to hold back. This is a learner as well. The riding of my viewer made this nice and calm, nice and relaxing, and everyone gets going that little bit sooner. Nice job. If you have to ride up the pavement to help an emergency service vehicle out, just make sure there's no pedestrians that are going to be harmed. I think the early slowdown helped the emergency services know that the cyclist wasn't going to be a problem. Nice communication. People don't always get things right, and especially learners. Nice job of accommodating this mistake. There's a big relationship between space and speed, and this rider shows some good examples in this 30-second clip. For all the motorists, cyclists do need much more space than just riding in the left gutter. This clip's from Australia, and my viewer shows some good common sense not to go down the inside of a vehicle with a left signal on. Always safety first and progress second. This is a lesson for many. It's nice to see some good skills being taught to the next generation of cyclists. But remember, bikeability training is not just for kids. You'd be surprised how much you could pick up and learn. Give it a try. Some more good judgment between space and speed, but this time with pedestrians about. Don't forget, some people may be hard of hearing if you use your bell. Just be patient like my viewer. Before we have a look at this final clip, I'd like to say a massive thanks to everyone who sends these clips in. They don't send them in on purpose to feature in a nice cycling episode, I just choose to put them in there. But I'm a strong believer that showing positive cycling clips like this is a way better tool for learning than showing motorists doing a bad thing. And here's another classic example. Although I thought my viewer possibly could have overtaken at that point, they did the correct thing if they're not sure and they hold back. But it's lovely to see this cyclist appreciating what's best for flow. And again, I think the cyclist was expecting my viewer to come past. You can see that by the stopping of the pedalling and the couple of shoulder glances. But now there's a solid line and a bend coming up. The cyclist seems to increase their pace. They're obviously changing what they're doing to suit the best flow for everyone. I often find myself doing this while I'm out on a bike. Now there's a straight part coming up, let's see what the cyclist does. They slow down, and when they get to under 10 miles an hour is the point where I think my viewer's happy to overtake because it's then legal. Roads are there to be shared, so let's share them. Keep safe everyone, I'll see you soon.